Hey, everybody, welcome to the Sunday meeting, the at home Sunday meeting coming to you live over YouTube. I'm actually in my home this time. This is my living room. Where are my compadres coming from? Where are my other pastors of Circle of Hope? Where are y'all?
I'm Rachel, and I'm coming from my office in South Philly, 2212 South Broad, to be exact.
We own that
Hey,
building.
everybody. Oh. Hi, I'm Julie Hoke. I am coming from my office at a building that we rent in Germantown.
Johnny Rashid in Fishtown, Pennsylvania on Frankfurt Ave between Norris and Susquehanna here. We own this building too. Let's talk about real estate.
Yeah. I don't think I said I'm Ben White, and I'm in Haddon Township. So glad to be with you. We are doing everything we can to connect during a very disconnected time, and this meeting is a big part of that. Thanks for making it happen. Thanks for making the connection, and even stepping right now over the threshold with us into trusting the connection that's happening, because we're connecting screen to screen, and we got to believe in it. We got to believe in the power of the body, the power of God to be doing something in this medium. It's so great that we have this ability to do this safely. You can connect by signing in at circleofhope.net/online meeting. You can also click into the YouTube live chat and connect with people that way. And it's all about connecting, because we're pulling out all the stops to try to help us all feel connected, because we're saying that slightly better than barely hanging on is pretty good. Okay. Like we don't have to have it all that great. We don't have to feel like super connected, like my aorta is wrapped around Johnny's aorta, and if we were separated, like we'd bleed out instantly. Like that's way too dramatic. And that just came off the top of my dome. I would like that to be true. I'm that kind of dramatic person. So I need to say again and again, slightly better than barely hanging on, Ben. It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
So we're gonna try to connect. Let's try to connect this way with a poll. What is it about polls when you see your opinion on a screen connected to other people's opinions that it helps? I don't know. We're going to talk about it in a second. But right now, y'all need to go to strawpoll.live and put the pin 133544 in there. Okay, I'm asking you to go to another site. Everyone that's watching this, get on your phone, click to another tab, make this happen, because we're going to connect using this poll. Strawpoll.live. And the pin is 133544. Also on the YouTube live chat, folks are putting a direct link in the chat that you can click on and answer the simple question: what device are you using to connect to this meeting? And what is it, y'all? I'm talking to Rachel, Julie, and Johnny now. What is it now that is going to make the person that is also using the tablet feel some kind of connection? What is that about?
You mean if somebody else is also using a tablet?
Yeah, I'm thinking. Well, I'm not using a tablet, but I am using like 9 things. I could answer a lot of things. I got a crazy setup right here. But like, I'm guessing that tablet is going to be the least used device. Yeah, I could be wrong. But the one person or the 5 people that are using the tablet, they say, "Oh, someone else is using it."
It'll be more than one. Yep.
What is that? Why does it?
Well, I think if you're a TV person and you're like broadcasting it to your TV, you want to meet the other tech savvy people that have figured out how to like do this from their couch, because that's a real connection point,
I'm definitely not one of those people, but I feel you, Ben, in that connecting, like finding something in common, even something kind of little right now, feels really good. Like
Totally.
We need those common things with each other.
It's like when you're at a restaurant and you see someone else ordered what you ate, you want to be friends with them. You want to say, "Hey, I got that too."
Y'all, I have a problem, y'all. No one is doing this vote. They don't want to click over.
I just did it. Come on.
Strawpoll.live 133594 or 44. I already memorized the pin.
We got 12 votes so far.
I know, but there are a lot of people watching this meeting. We want you to feel connected, y'all. This is better than Instagram. It's happening right now in the moment.
Ben Rosenbach likes it. He says, "Yay for a live poll."
Yeah, but it is worth acknowledging that depending on what device you are on, it does make it hard to go to another site.
Is that why phone has 0 votes so far?
If you don't pay for YouTube Premium, they don't let you do picture-in-picture on a phone. So when you click out of the YouTube, it actually clicks you out of the video completely. I have YouTube Premium because I watch a lot of YouTube, and I can like click all over my phone and still be watching the YouTube video. This is one of the things that they do to us, y'all. They're getting us. They're not letting the phone people vote on this poll.
But chances are there's another device in the household somewhere within arm's reach.
Well,
If you have it.
yeah, but it's time to look anyways, y'all. We got to look at it.
Okay,
Let's
let's
put
see.
it up there. Put it up there, Luke, and let's see what people are saying. As I was saying, no one using a tablet. So the one person that was feeling need to connect about the tablet, they're feeling disconnected still. This is a total failure.
No, it's not then.
We'll do it again so they can be ready next time.
Next time we'll do this again, y'all, and you're gonna have to do something that's not totally passive. I guess that's the thing. Doing something helps. Doing something, like, and when you don't think that just doing something barely any good, something because it's something doesn't feel like that's a good enough reason. But I think it is. And Donna has a story now that she's going to share with us. We've been getting people to dare to connect. All right. Like, what is it going to take to make a connection? We've been sending people on missions, and Donna made a video about some connections that she made. And it starts out with her kind of confession the night before. Oh man, I need to connect. And I bet you feel her on that. So let's watch it.
Hey friends, this is Donna Schmidt from the Marlton Pike congregation. And I'm at home right now, and it's been a rough week. It's been rough mentally, emotionally, and physically. There's a lot to be anxious about. I'm afraid about the future in so many ways, and feeling hopeless to do anything about it, to be able to affect the change that I wish I could make. And when I'm home alone, I feel that more and more and more. So I've put in my schedule twice a month to go out and be around other people and do something that does help. So I have my little mission tomorrow, personal mission to deliver some food, and I'm going to bring you with me. And hopefully it'll help you feel a little less of that anxious, hopeless feeling as well. All right, well, it's Saturday morning. I've got my green tea, and let's go deliver some groceries. Here we go. Hey, Tom.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Donna.
Good morning.
All right.
Oh, there's so many people.
Oh, let me get you your list.
Good morning.
There's a new on the table, but I see Sorrentino's and Donna.
I might have some people already getting your list together.
Do y'all need some help packing?
We are getting lists together now, so if you want to... Oh, you've got your delivery list.
Am I just going to just look through my boxes?
Absolutely. Donna first, right?
This is Donna's second right here. Donna's first is right here.
Move it. Thank you all. All right, I got it from here.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're
It's
welcome.
great to see so many people here helping. All right, we're all packed up.
Alrighty, you dropped your...
And
credit
we're going to say bye, Kristen. Bye, Tom.
card. Bye, guys. Good luck. Let me know
Bye.
if anything... Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you. All right, so we have 7 deliveries, so I'm gonna put our addresses in.
Your destination is on the right.
This is the part where I get to practice my rarely used parallel parking skills.
No pressure.
This one's got a few boxes.
Turn right onto South 27th Street.
Well, that's
Senora. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
I have dos más.
Okay.
Dos
Thank
favors.
you. God bless you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Have a good day.
All right, the car is empty. Just made my last delivery. Exercise for the day, got some fresh air, got to be around some of my people, and got to do some good work and meet some new friends. So I'm feeling a lot better than I was last night.
Oh, that was so great. You got to go all over Camden and Pennsauken with Donna. Thank you so much for doing that, Donna. And here's the thing, getting out and doing something. Maybe with a compassion team, there are ways to do it safely, and there's lots of need too. But we're trying to invent ways that we can connect and we can do. And it makes us feel better, like Donna was saying, and I think it helps us connect to what God is doing in the world. So that's your commission. Go and do a mission. Maybe connect with the South Jersey Mutual Aid team, maybe another compassion team, maybe just make something for a friend or call somebody up. Reach out. That's the plan. Now we're going to listen to Rachel talk more about pulling out all the stops to connect to each other and God.
I come from a line of top-notch worriers. My Italian Nana would worry every time I ran out the door without shoes on or without a coat on, even in the summertime. She would also sit by the oven the entire time a cake or some bread was baking and watch it because she worried that it would get overdone otherwise. My father, coming right after her, worried that if I was home too close to my curfew, even before my curfew, it meant that I was speeding. And he also worried loudly about my friend's behavior and about national security issues and about the pasta not being al dente if somebody wasn't watching it. I spent so much energy defending against all this worry that I didn't notice my own worry habits really creeping in until Jesus got my attention. Luke records Jesus saying to his disciples, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. For life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. Consider the birds. They do not sow or reap, they have no storeroom or barn, and yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable are you than the birds? Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to your life? Since you cannot do even this very little thing, why do you worry about the rest? Consider how the wildflowers grow. They do not labor or spin, and yet Solomon in all his splendor wasn't even dressed like one of these. If that's how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, how much more will he clothe you, you of little faith? And do not set your heart on what you will eat or drink. Do not worry about it. For the pagan world runs after all such things, and your Father knows that you need them. So seek his kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to the poor. Provide purses for yourselves that will not wear out, a treasure in heaven that will never fail, where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Jesus isn't just making a casual suggestion here to look at the birds and the flowers. The Greek word that he uses is actually a strong command. He's giving us a command to take a searching look at how God provides for life in order to help us not to worry. So I want to offer this to you today as my go-to prayer practice that you could try at home if you don't already. And it's so simple, I call it ordinary contemplation. Basically,
when I wake up in the morning, when I find myself worrying, which is every day as soon as I wake up in the morning, sometimes even in my sleep, I'm called to look outside of myself to see again how God is providing for me. Sometimes I'll take a walk, go to a park where I can see the trees. Sometimes I'll go up on my roof and look at the sky. Sometimes I'll just stand in my kitchen and notice the birds that are coming to my bird feeder out my kitchen window. But doing this helps me to remember where my life comes from and to renew my trust in my Creator. Jesus is telling his disciples to notice how the birds and the flowers are marvelously sustained by a power other than their own planning. They're not making themselves this way, and yet they are cared for and they are beautiful. And I think he's calling us to wonder about that. Like, who takes care of them? How do they exist? How are they alive? It's not by any human power that this is happening. And so Jesus is telling us that we can rely on God to take care of us like that too. I also want to address the elephant in the room, like all good theologians do. And the elephant in the room here, I think, with Jesus in this passage is that Jesus can sound very idealistic and out of touch with the realities of our worrisome modern lives, doesn't he? I mean, the bird population has declined by 30%, by a third, in the last 50 years in the United States and Canada. And some flowers only have a lifespan that's like a matter of hours long. And so how is this a comforting metaphor if we're worried about our futures? Birds and flowers are so vulnerable, and that's already how we feel. Like, what are we going to do if the domestic terrorists storm the state capitals like they're threatening to next week? How are we going to rebuild our community after all this time in isolation? How are we going to provide for our retirement plans if we lost our jobs in the pandemic or our businesses declined? How are we going to find a life partner if we haven't already? How are we going to protect ourselves from the mutant strains of COVID-19 that are turning up right now? We have a lot of real things to worry about. And so doesn't Jesus understand that just looking at some birds and flowers isn't going to solve our worry problems? I think that Jesus does understand this. The disciples that he was speaking to in this moment were worried about their basic needs being met too. The world has always been unpredictable and uncontrollable in dangerous ways. And it's always been very tempting to obsess about the things that we think we can control. And so Jesus is trying to show us a better way. And I think the way he's showing us is calling our attention to the present moment. That's what he's trying to do here. He's not giving us any guarantees about the future here in this passage. And that's part of the point. He's calling us to an awareness of God's provision for us right now, in this moment. Being with God in our right now is actually the best way, I think, to experience God's eternal promises. Jesus does promise us the future, to be with us forever. But I think we get closest to it right now when we stay with him in the present moment. Jesus is calling us out of the habit of ruminating about the past, which can be very depressing, because we can't go back and change things or stay there, even if it was good. And he's calling us out of the habit of being anxious about the future, which is understandably everyone's obsession right now. A way out of that cycle, he says, is to look at the life that's right in front of us. Look at what's alive and keep returning to look. We need to notice and relate to other forms of life, to see what God is doing and to get to know God. Creation is a revelation. Maybe that's part of why people are so comforted by having pets. But it doesn't have to be just animals or plants that we look at. We could contemplate the people that we know to this same end. This end being an awareness of how God is providing for us right now. I often feel that in our cell groups, how we see God's provision by noticing each other. There's always enough love to go around, as we say. We're wired for fear of scarcity, but Jesus keeps calling us to interrupt that wiring with some seeking toward what else is happening. I love how our pastor Johnny often says, something else is happening here. And we're called to seek that something else. That something else can be found in noticing the contentment and the beauty of God's creation that we are part of. And so by looking at the birds and flowers, or even just that houseplant in your kitchen, you might return to this awareness in the moment of how God is providing for you too. This is how I first came to Jesus as a child. I would often escape from my house and climb up high in a tree that overlooked the lake where I lived. And I would become aware that I wasn't alone up there in the tree. Surrounded by the gentle wind and so much beauty that miraculously worked together to support life, I concluded, even early on in my life, that a loving person must be behind all this and in it. I love how Julian of Norwich reflected on this in one of her revelations with Jesus that she recorded in the Revelations of Divine Love. She reflected on this mystery with a hazelnut. This is a walnut, but we'll use it for today's purposes. She wrote, "In this, he showed me a little thing, the quality of a hazelnut lying in the palm of my hand. It was as round as any ball. I looked upon it with the eye of my understanding, and I thought, what might this be? And it was answered generally thus, it is all that is made. I marveled how it might last, for I thought it might suddenly have fallen to nothing because of its littleness. And I was answered in my understanding, it lasts and it ever shall, because God loves it. And so all things have their beginning by the love of God. In this little thing, I saw 3 properties. The first is that God made it, the second, that God loves it, and the third, that God keeps it." So I wonder with you here this evening, if we could dare to see ourselves this way, that God made us, that God loves us, and that God keeps us. I know it might sound crazy, simplistic, and idealistic in terms of all that we face, but I keep coming back to the reality of this truth every day, especially as I look at creation. Our Creator does love each of us and care for us, even in the midst of these great conflicts and challenges that we face. We are sustained by grace upon grace. We're about to have this budget council meeting on Monday as a church, and our leadership team has been so amazed at how God has provided for us through all the difficulties of 2020, through our mutuality and sharing with each other. And so we can count on God to keep providing for us like that. as we keep our hands and our hearts open in trust. So the next time you find yourself worrying, see if you can't bring your attention to someone or something who's alive and see God's provision for them and through them. And let it call you to a renewed awareness of God's provision and love for you too. God bless you.
Jesus told a story about the big reveal. When the Son of Man comes in his glory, he'll be like a shepherd who separates the sheep from the goats. And he'll say to one group, "Come, receive the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me." And they'll answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see a stranger and welcome you?" And Jesus will say, "Whatever you did to the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you did to me." hidden Jesus, seen most clearly in the eyes of the poor, the least of these you told us to look for. But if we see you there, might we see you anywhere? Open our eyes.
Yeah, that was really great. Thanks to the team from South Jersey for leading us to worship. I'm Johnny once again, and I just want to help you connect a little bit more with our meeting. If you want to improve this meeting and help more people experience it, there's a few things you can do. First, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Upon doing that, if we get enough subscriptions on it, that raises our esteem with YouTube, and then we get more features on our page that way. And if you like the video, more people will see it as well. So the more liked videos, the more people see them. And if you want to share it on your social media so that your grandma can watch too, go ahead and do that. Just copy the link. It'll be up forever. And more people can worship with us, even if they're not engaging with us live. And also, one way to just help this meeting and the whole church, but also yourself out, is by going to circleofhope.net/sharing and contributing some money. That helps keep the whole thing together. And when I say it helps you out, what I mean is that sharing does something to us. It unlocks something within us, and it changes even how we see money. Rachel was talking about not worrying, and being freely generous with your money can help that. I think that's a possibility when we share in our common fund. Tomorrow is Martin Luther King Day, and we have a lot of events going on about it. We love Martin Luther King. If you go to circleofhope.net/events, you'll see 3 different events that you can participate in from home at different times. And also tomorrow evening at 7:30, you'll find that we're having our council meeting that Rachel also referenced earlier, this time gathering to affirm our budget. If you think you're a part of our body, then you're a part of the council. Talk to your pastor about how to get a Zoom link for that. So thanks for being here and paying attention to that. I'm going to pass the ball to my sister, Julie.
And if you haven't signed in yet, please do at circleofhope.net/online meeting. We want to know that you were here, that you were a part of this meeting, and a part of the poll earlier. So depending on what device you are on, it might be easier to grab something else to sign in, but please let us know that you are here. There's an option under the sign in to check off if you would like to get connected to a cell. Our cells are the ways that we work out being the church in real relationships. We're face-to-face on Zoom right now, but we're finding lots of ways to share our lives and our faith and our journeys with each other. And it's a way that God meets us over and over again and keeps us connected. So you are invited into that. All of our cells are open. You can check off that box and somebody will reach out to you this week. We meet all throughout the week, mostly on weeknights. And lastly, there is a way to connect right after this meeting. So the hosts are going to put in the live chat a link to a Zoom call. Just click over and hang out for a half hour. You can meet some of us face to face. It's a very informal time, and we'd like to spend it with you. Ben, why don't you send us out?
Zoom after hang, but this has been already such a great time. I hope that you're soaking it in here, and I'm just going to give you a little moment to receive it. Remember, we had that poll at the beginning. By the end of it, 53 people responded. Maybe we'll try it that way again. Thanks for being a part of that connection. We connected with Donna and the South Jersey Mutual Aid team, which has given away more than 800 deliveries, they were saying in the chat. Then Rachel led us into this ordinary contemplation, a life with God, with opening the eyes of our understanding, Julian of Norwich said. That's good. And then we worshiped, and I hope that all of that filled you up in a way and made it, maybe it was even better than pretty good. But I hope that you're barely hanging on, and I hope you can feel the grip strengthening during this meeting. One last thing. Tomorrow is Dr. King's Day. On January 27th, 1956, Dr. King received a midnight phone call, and they were threatening to blow up his house if he did not leave Montgomery in 3 days. He had gone there for the bus boycott. Later he told, I'm reading from a book here, later he told how that call created a spiritual midnight as he thought about what could happen to him, his wife, and his newly born baby girl. Now, we're not experiencing death threats right now, but I think that term spiritual midnight resonates with me, and it might resonate with you if you're feeling like you're barely hanging on. Later, recalling this incident, King told how fear drove him from bed to kitchen, where he prayed out loud, pleading, quote, "Lord, I'm down here trying to do what's right, But Lord, I must confess that I'm weak now. I'm faulting. I'm losing my courage. Yet then he heard a voice. Quote, Martin Luther, stand up for righteousness, stand up for justice, stand up for the truth, and lo, I will be with you, even to the end of the world. That's Jesus saying that to you too. Lo, I will be with you, even to the end of the world. If it's a spiritual midnight right now, if you're faulting, if you're scared, there's lots of reasons to be. Hold on to Jesus. He's with you. Hold on to him all week. In Jesus' name, amen. Go in peace.